York's classic rock, Q1043.
Good morning, and I welcome my friend who I should be making coffee for. But in this bizarre world, here we are Zooming with Michael Barasch of Barasch and McGarry, attorneys for the 9/11 community. And of course, we are coming up on the 19th year anniversary of September 11th, and it's unlike any other anniversary because everything is just upside down, inside out because of COVID-19. But Michael has a message for you, and we wanted to make sure that you got this message and get to work on this message, those of you in the 9/11 community. And we're talking about not just first responders, we're talking about you if you live there, you if you volunteered in the 8 months after September 11th, you who work there, you, the construction worker, teachers, students. Michael, what's your message?
So first of all, thanks for having me on. As always, you're such an advocate for the 9/11 community. This is a crazy year. First of all, because it's the 19th anniversary. And let's face it, it's just not a sexy number. Next year will be crazy with all the stories. And I already have had documentarians call me and say, hey, do you have any great stories for next year? Not for this year, of course, because what is 19? But also, in addition to that, all the memorials that I'm going to this year, I'm going to them right from my computer. They're all being, even the reading of the names, and I'm participating in it. I was involved, St. Paul's Church asked me if I would read some names, as well as some of the other people in my office, which I'm honored to do, but it is a strange inside out year, Shell. But the message is this: before last year, when Jon Stewart helped us get the Victim Compensation Fund fully funded and permanently extended, the old rule was that you had to file within 2 years of your cancer diagnosis and within 2 years of your loved one's death. That was statutory. Well, then they tweaked it a little bit so that if someone was certified, not just diagnosed, but certified by the health program, then it was 2 years from the certification letter. All right, big deal. Either way, thousands of people missed the deadline because either they didn't know about the 2-year deadline or they didn't want to take money away from firefighters and cops. And I respect that. But now, thanks to Jon Stewart helping us get this bill passed, the special master extended that deadline. So it's no longer 2 years. It's now anybody who died or had cancer. Let's say your loved one died of prostate cancer in 2007, or your wife died of breast cancer in 2011. Your family now has the right to make a claim until next July 29th, 2021. So next July 29th is the deadline for anyone who was diagnosed with cancer or who died of cancer and who previously missed the deadline. And this is a wonderful opportunity. And as I mentioned, over 50% of the people who contact me every week would have otherwise missed this deadline. And I know that as much outreach as I'm doing and people like you who are following this story, still people are going to miss the deadline. And that's just throwing heartache on top of heartache when these people could be financially secure. That's what their loved ones would have wanted, isn't it?
Exactly. So if they had a cancer more than 2 years ago or lost a loved one more than 2 years ago, now is the time to file. Now is the time to contact you, 911victimfund.com.
Right. Another thing, and I know, I'm certainly in the minority of attorneys and law firms that's representing the 9/11 community that's doing this, but I'm encouraging everybody in the 9/11 community, even if you're totally healthy, you should register with the Victim Compensation Fund now so as to avoid the problem that so many people until this extension were having. So if you register now, and then God forbid, 40 years from now, you do get cancer and you forget all about this and you die, and then more than 2 years goes by, your family is still able to make a claim. It's kind of like an insurance policy, because in addition to registering, as you know, Shelley, you need 2 witnesses to sign an affidavit, and it doesn't have to be notarized, it just has to be 2 of your coworkers at Goldman Sachs or at Citibank or at the American Stock Exchange, or 2 of your fellow students at Stuyvesant High School or any of the other schools that were downtown. You need 2 people to sign an affidavit saying, I worked next to this guy, or I went to school with this woman. That's it. But again, sadly, and I have to think this way, even though I may not still be practicing law in 70 years, the Victim Compensation Fund will be open for another 70 years until the year 2090. Well, it's possible if somebody gets cancer in 40 years that their witnesses may not be around. So why not register now, get those 2 affidavits now. You don't need to hire a lawyer, but we're happy to do this for you for free. We'll register you in the Victim Compensation Fund to stop the clock. We'll upload your affidavits so the government has them, and the government can choose or not choose to reach out to your witnesses now just to secure your claim. God forbid you ever get sick or die. It's a no-brainer. You don't pay an attorney until he actually wins money for you, and that's only 10%. So it's a contingency fee. So you shouldn't allow the thought of, I don't have any money to hire a lawyer. That shouldn't prevent you from protecting your family. And I'm encouraging everybody with good proof of presence, protect yourself and apply now.
All this time, I didn't realize that you could register with the Victim Compensation Fund unless you were certified with a 9/11 illness.
Well, you can't get any money
I get
unless you're
that,
certified.
but I didn't know you could register.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't you think it's a good idea for everyone to protect themselves?
Absolutely. And you will help them do that. Or if they have any questions, I mean, ask the questions.
Yeah, I haven't.
Here's the deal. Michael gave me this statistic, which just, it was insane. Of all of the people that are now part of the World Trade Center Health Program, and those are people with a 9/11 cancer or a 9/11 illness, a serious respiratory illness, of all the people who are getting free medical care for life, and what I'm told is the best medical care they ever got in their lives,
especially for respiratory illnesses,
only 5% of those in the program are non-first responders. This means that hundreds of thousands of people have not yet connected the dots between their cancer or their respiratory illness over the last 19 years. That is a huge figure. We are not getting to these people.
Right. Just to give your stats a little bit of context here, there were approximately 500,000 people altogether in the 9/11 community. Approximately 100,000 of them were firefighters, cops, sanitation workers, construction workers, volunteers, what we call responders. Of those 100,000 people, 80% are in the health program because they know about it. Their unions are doing a great job educating them and letting them know and encouraging them. And by the way, I know you said this, but it bears repeating. This is a nationwide program. So for so many of my clients who have retired to Florida, to North Carolina, Arizona, South Carolina, California, there are clinics in all these states, and it's free, and it's free for the rest of your life. Not if you injure your back playing golf, but certainly for your cancer, for your respiratory illnesses. And the health program picks up all the co-pays, all the deductibles. And if you have no health insurance at all, they'll pay every nickel of your coverage. So you owe it to yourself to apply for this, and you get a free annual exam if you have an illness. If you don't have an illness, then you wait until, God forbid, you get an illness. For first responders, you're entitled to a free exam every year, even if you're healthy. But of the 400,000 other people who are called non-first responders. They're also known as survivors. 50,000 of them were students and teachers. 25,000 of them were downtown residents living below Canal Street. And over 300,000 of you were office workers, like my secretary, Barbara, who you know, who suffered skin cancer and lymphoma. And thank God she's healthy today, but she's entitled to the free health care. She's entitled to the compensation, even though she's not a firefighter or cop.
Again, Michael, I want you to hit our listeners with this statistic from your own law firm, and you are steps away from the World Trade Center. What percentage of the people who worked for you on 9/11 got a 9/11 cancer?
Well, I'm literally 2 blocks. So we're on Park Place, so we're 2 blocks from where the attacks took place. Of the 15 people who were working for me in 2001, 2 of them sadly died at age 47 of a 9/11 cancer. Liana died of breast cancer and Dennis died of kidney cancer. And of the other 5, I've publicly said this, I have prostate cancer. Knock wood, I'm doing great. But a few of my other associates and partners had skin cancer, breast cancer. I mean, 7 out of 15 have cancer, and a number of the others have respiratory problems. And it shouldn't shock anybody. We were breathing the same toxins as the firefighters and cops.
And that is the message we need to get across. I wanted to ask you something else. I spoke with a young woman who volunteered at Ground Zero starting on 9/11 and for the entire 8 months after. She met her husband, an FDNYer, as she was volunteering.
Isn't that nice?
She married him. Sadly, he died of a heart attack in his 40s.
Right.
Heart attacks, heart issues are not covered under this program. Is there any indication that that could change in the future? That was just one of the most heartbreaking things I've heard.
No pun intended, I'm sure.
Right.
Yes, there is some hope. There are constantly studies being done by NIOSH, which controls the World Trade Center Health Program. As a matter of fact, as of 2013, no cancers had been linked. And now 68 cancers have been linked. So they're always adding new illnesses when they have the statistical data. But I just had a case, a woman came in this morning. She actually came to my office. We do still allow that now that we've reopened. Her mother sadly died of what they listed was a heart illness. But the cause of death, she just brought in the death certificate, was heart illness. Secondary cause was cancer, which had placed such stress on the chemotherapy. So we now can make that claim that she died of cancer. Same thing with COVID-19. I've lost close to 100 clients now due to the coronavirus. Now, it's not, as you know, this is a lung virus. It attacks the lungs. So it goes to say, it's obviously common sense. If you've had COPD or asthma, or you've had cancer, which necessitated chemotherapy or radiation, your immune system is shot. If you've had asthma, you're more vulnerable to COVID-19 than the average person. So first of all, I implore everybody with an illness, wear a mask if you're going outside. You need to protect yourself and others, but please take care of yourself. But we've lost so many, almost, as I said, almost 100 of our clients have died. They all had underlying respiratory illnesses or cancer, and they were not able to fight off COVID-19.
And if you have any questions at all, if you were part of the 9/11 community, and as Michael Barasch pointed out, we're talking about 500,000 people, 500,000 people. Contact Barasch and McGarry, 911victimfund.com. That's 911victimfund.com. They will get back to you within 24 hours.
Oh,
And
are
I
you
can't
kidding?
say that. I can't say that about many people on this earth, let alone attorneys. So please, if you have questions, you need to get your questions answered.
Thank
And I
you,
want to
Shelley,
thank
for
you.
following this. I appreciate it. As always, I appreciate you helping me get the word out. And I ask your listeners, please, even if you're totally healthy, if you were in the 9/11 community, you should register yourself. And if you know anyone else who died, contact their family members and let them know it's not too late to make a claim, but
Right.
it will be soon.
I thank you, Michael Barasch. And coming up next, the legendary John Leguizamo. So hang in there. Next, Q104.3.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.